So this guy is just Zoidberg, right? All the way down to eating inappropriate things and stinking up the room. He'll eat your hat, he'll eat your shoes, he'll eat your soul ring, and he'll eat your land. But that's okay because we can do quite a bit with it. We can do quite a bit of damage with it. Ragost Deft Gastronaut is a 2-mana 2/2 lobster citizen who just wants to sample the delicacies of the Eternities. He turns all artifacts you control, from treasures to equipment to mana rocks, into foods, which he then eats to deal damage to your opponents. And as long as you've gained life, he untaps himself every turn. And in testing, I can tell you that this guy represents a clock on the game, even if you just use him once on each player's turn. And I say just once because we can do a lot more than that. Thanks to equipment like Battle Mage's Bracers, Illusionist Bracers, or Sting Glinting Dagger, you could be getting a lot more than one activation out of Ragost each turn. And that's just the sources of additional untaps that he can eat as well. We also have Drum Bellower, or Prop Room, or Lulu to help us get additional untaps with Ragost each turn. Let's not forget White Plume Adventurer either. Untapping even just Ragost is a great way to make sure we get another ping in each turn. The way that this works is, we can respond to the multiple untap triggers to activate the lobster, dinging each opponent for 3 over and over and over again. At one point playing this brew, I was activating Ragost 3 times on each player's turn. It got incredibly crazy. And even if we aren't untapping, having a Marvin Murderous Mimic get a copy of Ragost ability means at least one other activation. Marvin doesn't get the Crabman's untap trigger, so we'll need to rely on our untap effects to have Marvin also double up on the feast. Just hope Ragost doesn't find Marvin to be the next course of his meal. Now, in order to get to that level, we need 2 things: artifacts to eat and life gain. As long as you have that online, Ragost, artifacts, and life gain, you have an engine to start getting some real damage going. Let's start with lifelink, as this is the easy part. Since Ragost deals the damage when eating an artifact, we just need to give him lifelink so that he untaps himself at the end of each turn, while gaining us a monster 9 life each activation. And we can do this a few ways, like with very edible equipment. Basilisk Collar, Shadow Spear, or the new Dancer's Chakrams, all granting our commander lifelink and ensuring we can start putting distance between our life total and our opponents. I really like Caduceus here too. Not only does it grant Ragost lifelink when equipped, but it also turns him into an indestructible monster when you can very easily get your life over 30. But ironically, Rune of Sustenance gives our Hungry Crustacean lifelink too, while cantripping to keep us with some cards in hand. And even cycling a Splendor Mare can put a lifelink counter on our commander to ensure he keeps gaining us life. Okay, hold up, tangent for a moment here, but I have a side quest in this deck. Ragost is our main man in the deck, but I really want to use a Nesting Grounds to move Splendor Mare's lifelink counter onto a Descent into Avernus. That's like magical Christmas land, but it's something I want to make happen really, really bad. I will never ever skip an opportunity to try and make that happen. But with the lifelink part of the equation solved, how are we getting enough artifacts to eat? Let's solve 2 problems at once: paying Ragost's activation cost and having artifacts to sacrifice with treasures. They're versatile and easy to create, and Ragost eats them the same as any other artifact. And importantly, we can make them on other players' turns. Smuggler's Share, Monologue Tax, and Spiteful Banditry are all free ways to create treasures on other players' turns, just from taking actions that they're going to be taking anyway. If we're activating Ragost 3 times a turn cycle, we need 3 mana and 3 treasures to sacrifice at least, and this can get us there with very little effort. But so can Horde Hauler, crashing in and creating us plenty of treasures too, depending on how many artifacts our opponents control, while being a nasty 5/5 trampler to boot. While Professional Facebreaker and the new Knuckles can reward us for crashing in for combat damage as well, all things that we want to be doing. With the Facebreaker also letting us dig for pieces to put our puzzle together, and Knuckles quite possibly winning us the game with enough treasures out. Other on-attack token makers are dragons like Goldlust Triad, Ancient Copper Dragon, and Cavern Horde Dragon, putting a clock on opponents' life totals in addition to Ragost's Feast, while making us plenty of succulent artifacts to feed on. And spells like the Big Score and Unexpected Windfall make us treasures while also drawing us cards and keeping our hand full of options. With spells like Hell to Pay and Bottle Cap Blast acting as both removal and treasure generators too. Best of both worlds and a great overlap in utility and synergy. But if those aren't enough for you, there's always double. More treasure! Doublers like Mondrak, Anointed Procession, and Elspeth Stormslayer ramp up that token generation even more, turning a fine amount of tokens into an infinite amount of tokens very quickly. The brand new Exalted Sunborn is a must-have in the deck as well, being another token doubler, but this time with the new Warp mechanic, meaning we can cast it for just 2 mana on a turn where we're making treasures, doubling those treasures, then later using that mana to cast Sunborn for its realsies cost this time. A 4/5 flying lifelinker that doubles our tokens is incredible, without a second thought. And if we're focusing on treasures, then Reign of Riches is a must-have too, giving us extra reach from cascading with spells that we cast with treasure mana. That's just free real estate. And something Academy Manufactor. Come on, you know I've got to include him. And in this deck, he means that you don't even have to eat your own treasures. We could be eating real food tokens instead, which is absolutely wild. But as always, we need some plans for the cases where Plan A fails. Even at 2 mana, Ragost getting removed repeatedly means he may just no longer be efficient to cast at all. What do we do then? That's where Reckless Flameweaver, Ingenious Artillerist, and the new Weststalker Ardent come into play. They ping each opponent when you have your treasures or any artifact enter the battlefield, making them real clocks on the game and a death by 1,000 cuts style win con. This can win us the game from just creating artifacts rather than also eating artifacts and even without attacking. They also make fantastic additional targets for lifelink too, as dealing damage to each opponent can reset your life total back to full in just a few triggers. Hellkite Tyrant, much like Knuckles, can become a backup win con as well. Having this bonus alternate win condition stapled to creatures we want in the deck anyway is fantastic and may just steal us a few games accidentally. And then, of course, there's combat too. We have several dragons in the deck that fly into combat victories, while our untap effects keep them ready to block as well, giving them a pseudo-vigilance. And I mentioned earlier, but Descent into Avernus is also in the list. It makes treasures and it deals damage to everyone. And as history tells us, linked up top, if you can cast a Descent into Avernus, you cast a Descent into Avernus. This is currently a no-budget Bracket 2 deck that easily plays as a Bracket 3 with 0 game changers. But if you're looking for upgrades, a Smothering Tithe would be the first place to look. It is the pinnacle of treasure generation and really would be right at home in the deck in place of a Monologue Tax or Smuggler's Share. And an Enlightened Tutor could go fetch up some of our treasure generating enchantments or our lifelink granting equipment, making it easier to grab the pieces we need for efficiency. Replacing the Dispatch in the list reduces our removal but makes us overall more consistent. And as a last game changer, I'd add in the One Ring, only because I think it would be hilarious for Ragost to eat the ring once you get too many burden counters on it. Seems like a very funny thing to do, and just to watch the look on your opponent's face. But let me know what you think of Larry the Lobster here. How many of you took one look at him and want to brew him right away? Let me know in the comments and be sure to share your lists with me too. You can find my list, linked in the description, at my sponsor, MOXFIELD. MOXFIELD is the best deck building platform in the world and makes it easy to build decks and search for specific cards with their powerful tools. Be sure to check out my brews on my profile today. If you want to pick up any singles whatsoever, go to Card Trader. Use my promo code MECHANIC right now to get 5% off your order from any TCG. Card Trader's Zero system means you can get cards from all over the world with only one shipping fee. Save money and time today. If you're looking to sell off your Magic cards, go to Card Conduit. They are hands down the easiest way to sell your individual cards, without the hassle of traditional buy listing. They'll give you top dollar while handling all of the heavy lifting, from sorting to grading to optimizing your price across a huge network of vendors, and they'll give you cold hard cash for it. You can use the promo code MECHANIC right now for 10% off of all fees. If you were inspired to brew today, you have to hit that subscribe button. Check out this other brew on my channel now for more sweet deck techs. And as always, folks, good luck and have fun.